Hi everyone, it's Evangeline here at eTrailer, and today we are looking at the Hollywood Rack's Destination 2 bike rack here on our 2020 Hyundai Tucson. So the Destination bike rack is really nice for how lightweight and portable it is. Here on your Tucson you have a smaller vehicle, so it's really nice to have a bike rack to match that. Also, if you're looking for something that you yourself can carry on your own and other bike racks seem too heavy for you, this might be a good option. Alright, so we'll talk about how our bike is mounted. So we have 1, 2, and 3 mounting points. So those 2 mounting points are wheel straps. So when you want to take your bike off, that's where you start. You press that lever and then you pull up on the strap. And I recommend trying to rotate it to the side. That way it doesn't get tangled up in your spokes when you take your bike off. And then after taking those 2 wheel straps out, you then go over here to the middle and you go to the frame mount. So the frame mount has an interesting design. That's because it has a 360 degree of rotation to accommodate frames of different shapes and different sizes. So depending on your frame, you can move this up, down, left, right, as well as around in order to wrap around that frame. So when you want to take your bike off, try to support your bike some way, somehow, because once you release it, it may tip towards your vehicle. Press that lever, push that strap out, and from there you can grab your bike, and it's a slight lift over that mast, and you're ready to go on a bike ride. And with the bike out of the way, we get to take a closer look here at our bike rack. So here at eTrailer, we've started to call these cradles the wings, kind of like how they are angled downwards to accommodate different wheel bases. You then have this strap. So this strap has a cushion. Try to place it over your wheel. That way when you do have that strap ratchet down to secure that wheel, it both cushions the wheel to protect it from scuffs and scratches, but it also gives it a little extra traction and security. Alright, so if you want to access your hatch, some bike racks can tilt the weight. What this one does is you have to lower the mast. So to do so, you loosen this knob right over here. And once that knob is loosened, you can then lift up on that stand that's holding the mast upright. So then tighten this knob back down. And then from there, you can lower this mast. And what I like to do is I like to use either the frame mount straps or the wheel straps to secure the mast in this position. So here I'll put the frame straps away and use this wheel strap. Put that into place. There you go, that's secured. And so in this position, you can then open up your hatch and you can see how there's plenty of room between our door and our bike rack. That way we can get maybe our water, our bags, our helmets without having to take the bike rack off. On the downside though, you do have to take your bikes off if you want to open your hatch. Now this is a compact bike rack, but there's still going to be some length added to the back of your vehicle. So let's take some measurements to see exactly how much. From our bumper to the end of the bike rack right by that reflector, it sits about 23 3/4 inches. So that's actually really short for a 2-bike bike rack, but it's still a length to keep in mind whenever you're backing into your garage or trying to park into a really tight spot. Let's also take a look at ground clearance. So from the middle of our bike rack to the ground, it sits at 22 inches. From the end of the wings to the ground, it sits at 17.5 inches. And from our shank to the ground, we have it at 12.5 inches for ground clearance. So ground clearance, or knowing how much ground clearance you have, is very important when you're going up steep inclines like driveways or hills. Another of its features is that this has a 35 per pound weight capacity. If you have heavy electric bikes, this may not be the best option, but for most of your road bikes, mountain bikes, just your ordinary bikes, they are usually well within that 35 pound weight capacity. And you can also fold this up for when you want to drive around town, but you're not planning on taking your bikes out just yet. So you take out that clip, and then you take out that bolt, and then you fold this up, And then you put that bolt back into place. So that bolt's going to secure your bike rack. So make sure to turn it until it has this rack secured. Once that's fully tightened down, you then use your clip to keep that in place. So let's take some measurements again with it in the portable position. So from the bumper to the end of the bike rack, we have it at 7 inches. And then it does stick out here a little bit here at the mast, so that sticks out at 11 inches away from your vehicle. For the closest point, it's going to be from the bumper to, let's see, that wheel cradle. And that's going to be 4.5 inches of clearance between the two, meaning there's going to be no chance of it making contact with your vehicle as you ride along. See how big of a difference it is with it folded up like this. This is also the position you'll have it in if, let's say, you want to store it in your trunk or in your garage, since it's nice and compact. With it folded up, you can also see how our rear window is clear, as are our tail lights. Now our backup camera sits right over here, but that's above your bike rack, so you're still going to see your bike rack in your camera, but you'll also see everything behind you. Our license plate is slightly covered depending on what angle you're looking at, but it's not as obscured as if it would be with a larger tray style bike rack. Alright, let's talk about how this fits into our hitch. So this has 1.25 inch shank, so if you do happen to have a class 2 or class 1 hitch receiver, it fits with that. We have a class 2 hitch receiver, so it has a 2-inch hitch adapter, so it works really well with that because it has an anti-rattle bolt holding it in place along with a lock. This comes with a tool to tighten down that anti-rattle bolt, but I really recommend picking up a wrench with a 3/4 inch socket because that's going to be a lot easier to use. But with that tightened down, you can see how as I shake our bike rack, I'm mainly shaking our vehicle, showing how it reduces that rattle as well as the sway when you're on the road, making for a smoother ride for your bikes overall. Alright, so my final thoughts about the Destination bike rack is I do like how light it is. This is one of the few bike racks I can carry on my own with one hand, and that says a lot about our selection here for bike racks. Now this does fit into our vehicle really well since you have a smaller car. If you also want to save on space, this is a good option. This does not tilt away if you want to access your hatch, so you're also going to have to think about living with taking your bikes off if you do want to get into your trunk. But other than that, it works really well with bikes of different shapes and different sizes. And that was a look at the Hollywood Rack's Destination 2 bike rack here on our 2020 Hyundai Tucson.